Looks pretty good.
So recently in my non-adventure type videos, I've been looking at prepping things for the winter time for, camping, hiking, that kind of stuff. And today I'm gonna see if we can take my Harbor Freight hatchet I got for like $10, maybe a little more, a couple years ago, and maybe we can just give it some upgrades, make it look a little cooler. I'm gonna try to spend as little money as possible, and the only thing I had to buy was some steel wool. I had everything else around here. This is just some old paracord that I had. And so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna make this black, so that way, kind of give it like a blackout theme, so that way when I'm chopping wood late at night in the, the low light and I drop it, I'll never be able to find it again. And it'll be a nice little present, a little Christmas present for someone that finds it along the way. In all seriousness though, I do have some high-vis paracord that I'll put on some point. I just don't know where it is at the moment, and I think the black will look kind of cool. So first what we're gonna do is we're going to ebonize this handle, make it all black, and then I'm going to wrap it to prevent head strikes on to prevent misses on the handle, give it kind of a paracord wrap right here. And then finally, I'm going to put a loop here for the paracord as well to go through so I can hang that hatchet and stuff. Thought about giving it a leather handle, but I don't really think it's necessary, especially for a hatchet. You might be holding it up here, down here anyway, just depending on what you're doing. So all we're going to be using is two main things. We're going to be using, like I said, this paracord. This is not real paracord. I think I got it at Walmart forever ago, but it doesn't need to be for this application. And for the ebonizing process, we're going to be using iron acetate. I made this a couple days ago. If you don't know what iron acetate is, it's essentially, or the way you make it at home, it really is you dissolve some 000 or 4-aught steel wool. You don't really dissolve it, you just let it sit in some distilled white vinegar for this has been going for like 36 hours. I don't know, I started it a couple days ago. No, oh my goodness, I started it Sunday and it's Wednesday. So anyway, so what this is going to do is it's going to bring out the tannins in the wood. I think this is pine. I don't think it's a very nice wood. It's just kind of an old soft wood. It looks like pine to me. And I've heard you can get mixed results with that, just depending on the tannins in here. I don't think it's treated. I mean, it's a $10 Harbor Freight Act. You really think they're splurging here on the wood. So we're going to see what it'll do. It'll definitely darken it, but I don't know if it's going to go gray or if it's going to go jet black. So yeah. But before we do that, first we're going to do is we're going to put a hole in the bottom of this so we can attach our handle to it. So let's get started. I'm going to go with a 1/4-inch drill bit, and we're just going to drill a hole through here. First I'm going to mark it, so this is probably the lowest my hand will go. So with that in mind, maybe we can put this hole right, I kind of want to put it in the center here. So we'll just mark it right there. We'll just do the hole right there.
All right, so yeah, we got our hole here. I'm gonna put this up on something and just drill straight through it. All right, so I'm propping this up on just some stuff I got out of my recycling bin. I haven't recycled yet, so let's go ahead and drill this hole. All right, that looks straight through, which is good. All right, so now I got this hole drilled here, and we're going to take my Dremel, and we're just going to kind of go around the edges here, just kind of, flange that out there. That's good. Now we'll go to the back. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're done with the power tools. All right, so I got an old shoebox here I'm gonna use so I don't get any of this on my counter. I'm not entirely sure of how this interacts with other things, so I'm gonna take my wedding band off of this also, just because I don't think it'll mess with it, but because it's, I don't know, we'll see what happens. All right, so first we have to filter this, which we can again use something from my recycling bin. Remember, it's reduce, reuse, recycle. So we're gonna reuse this before we recycle. All right, so to filter this, I'm using a Chemex filter, just because I have a bunch of these, and we're gonna use one. Put that right there. Now, I've heard that this goes a long way, so we shouldn't need a ton. Oh, look at that. Looks great, doesn't it? So this is, that's the steel wool inside there, and it's got this color, it smells like, I don't know, it smells like a rusted Easter egg, I guess. All right, so we'll just pour a little bit in here. That should be all we need. I can't imagine we need more than that. All right, now we'll filter this. Kind of let that drain. Okay, that looks good. Now, just to preface as well, this is the first time I've ever ebonized wood at all, especially using this, so this is not really a tutorial. This is more of an experiment. So we'll put our axe here. Let's see if we can get some of this on here. Again, I've heard this goes really far, so we'll see. It's certainly darkening it. I've heard this takes a minute though to really see. Because I think the longer it sits on here, the more it darkens. Wow, that is actually graying it at the very least. That's a cool color. Make sure we get all of this. Wow, that's turning quite dark. And you can hit this with multiple coats, I think. Obviously you can hit it with multiple coats. I don't really know if it'll do anything though. But if it turned jet black, that would be really neat. And of course this is still wet too. So who really knows, you know, what the final product will look like when it dries. All right, and you know, I think I'm just gonna let this sit for a while and let it dry, just see what actually happens. You can see the bottom is quite dark, but I don't know if that's just because of how the grains are with it being cut. I really don't know, but this is looking pretty good. It already looks cooler. Looks like the value's gone up from $12 to $15. It smells like a campfire almost, which is weird. Cool. I'm gonna hit it a couple more times just to see how dark it'll get. See, that's turning into a nice dark color on the first side we hit for sure. All right, and then we'll just come back later and see how that does. All right, so I let this thing, you know, ebonize and kind of dry out for a few hours now, and it's looking pretty good. Not quite the black I was kind of going for, but that's okay. I didn't think it would get there with just the pine, so I think I need to kind of buff this out. I don't really have sandpaper. I thought I did, so I'm going to use a rough paper towel and just kind of scuff it up, and then I'm going to hit it with a little wet, damp paper towel as well, just to really get the rest of the particles of iron and stuff off, so that way it doesn't rub and it doesn't mess up the stain or anything. Yeah, that's working. There we go. I thought I had sandpaper, but I guess I just completely ran out. Yeah, look at that. I got all sorts of stuff off, so yeah, that already feels better. So now I'm gonna hit it with a damp one. Okay, now this is not very wet. It's just kind of damp. I guess it's kind of wet. Either way, we're just gonna hit that. Gotta make sure we get the excess off. You know, that actually turned out pretty nice color-wise. And there we go. So now we can go on to the final step here. All right, so for this next part, we're gonna give it a bit of a paracord wrap here, just to prevent against strikes, and also, again, the name of the game here is just to make this look cooler. Let's be real. It's, you know, I mean, it's a cheap hatchet, and we're just doing what we can with it. So we got some paracord here. So I've seen this method performed like once, maybe twice, on a YouTube video. I'll link the YouTube video I referenced down below. So I think what we got to do is he did it on this side, so we'll do something kind of like this. And then we'll make one of these, right? So we want just a hair at the top. Okay. Then we wrap this like that. There we go. And we go under each time, pushing that to the top. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. Okay. And I guess this is a kind of a small hatchet. We don't need a ton of them. And just each time, make sure we push that to the top. I don't really think it needs to go any lower than that. So then what you do is, we can go right here, I guess. We stick the end of this through the loop. We give that a pull, make sure it's down here. Now before we pull it taut, make sure it's all good to go over here. Around the whole thing, make sure our stacks are tight, which they are. Now that that's through there, we're gonna pull that taut on the top, right? Okay, so now that's stuck, and then we just pull it until that goes up underneath this wrap. That's fine, that's a little loose there, but we will take it. Give it a little meltsy here. Probably could have trimmed that a little more, but that's okay. It looks really cool from this side, and that's all that matters. And I did this all on the right side too because I am right-handed, and so I like my palm where it grips to be kind of flat, And so this is kind of ergonomic in this regard. The final piece here, I'm gonna do a little loop here just so I can hang it on stuff. Yeah, so I'm just gonna tie a basic square knot and then I'm gonna melt it together, right? And there you have it. Looks pretty good. It's now it looks like it might be worth $18. No, but seriously, you know, I mean, for the $12 that I paid for this years ago, this looks like something that, you know, is obviously worth a little more. Not much, but it is nice. And that's just kind of a way, because, you know, with Bushcraft and like all sorts of hiking tools, you know, it's easy to get carried away, like, oh, I gotta have the nice, crazy, expensive stuff. But with this, you know, I've got maybe $15 into this whole thing, right? And it looks great, you know, it's functional, it's got a little handle, got your guard in case you miss, and your handle looks like just a little bit more upscale, and this is something that I'll be using for a bit, and I think honestly something that anyone would be proud of in their, you know, camping, backpacking. Actually, I don't know, generally people don't carry hatchets backpacking, but at least camping, bushcraft kind of kit here. So I'm going to take this actually on a camping trip tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to go great. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys have a cheap little axe or a little hatchet, here's just cheap ways to you know, make it look. I think, let's see, $3 in material at least gives this $20 more in value. So that's my official Netrift estimate. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.